This Old Heart of Mine. Rod Stewart, Ron and Eiley on R&J's Classic Mix. I'm Rockin' Randy, along with me is...
Moondog.
Moondog. I want to thank you for tuning in. As we mentioned before, our spotlight band, or person, is Alan Parsons tonight. And we've already dabbled in him at the beginning of this first set. We played a song off his first album with the Alan Parsons Project, Tales of Mystery and Imagination. And that was Orson Welles doing the lead off, and it was Dream Within a Dream and The Raven. Alan Parsons, for you who don't know, he's an English audio engineer, musician, record producer, born way back in 1948. Oh, he's up there. Okay, but he packs a pretty impressive resume, Moondog.
Does he?
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's widely known for a series of albums, but this creative genius has worked with some of the best in rock and roll, including the Beatles, Pink Floyd, the Hollies.
I've heard of them.
You've heard of them, that's right. Okay, good. Way back in October of 1967, at only 18 years old, Parsons went to work as an assistant engineer at Abbey Road Studios.
Oh, my God.
And guess who that Abbey Road Studios is famous for? You bet, the Beatles. He worked and got his first credits on Abbey Road and the Let It Be album. Now, the studio became a regular hangout for Parsons, and he worked with McCartney's Wildlife and Red Rose Speedway albums. He'd produced 5 albums by the Hollies. However, his first major success when he received a Grammy nomination, not the win, but the nomination for his contributions on Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Al Stewart, his big hit, You're the Cat. Well, Parsons was responsible for that. He turned that into a kind of a folksy song. He said, well, let's jazz it up a bit, put a saxophone in it, put in some drum percussion stuff, jazzed it up, and it became a #1 hit for Al Stewart. Now, he also worked on a band called Pilot. That was their first album. Their big hit was Magic. You remember them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Another band lucky enough that Parsons worked with was Ambrosia, where Parsons picks up 2 more Grammy nominations for his mixing on their first and second albums. That's enough about Parsons for now. We're going to get back into the tunes. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix with Rockin' Randy and...
the Amazing Moondog!
And speaking of Alan Parsons, that is our spotlight band tonight. I'm going to give you a little more info on the famous Mr. Parsons. Now, back in 1975, after having some success with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, Floyd said, well, would you come and work on the Wish You Were Here album? Instead, Parsons turned it down. He teamed up with Eric Wilson, a fellow engineer from the Abbey Road studio days, and that's when they started the Alan Parsons Project. The project consisted of a revolving group of studio musicians, vocalists, most notably, I can't speak tonight, was the members of Pilot, and they worked on the first album along with the members of Ambrosia. Now, they did get a long-time lead singer, Lenny Zakatek, joined the band, and he was on there with them for 10 years. Now, Eric Wilson also did some vocals on some songs. Alan Parsons, he just stayed in the background doing the odd background vocal. Okay, other notable singers include Alan Clark. He was a former lead singer of the Hollies. Now, you know, Moondog, the Alan Parsons Project never did perform live during their heyday. They never did a live tour. No. Now, Parsons did do a live show in 1990 after they split up with Wilson, but Wilson did come to that concert and worked in the background. It was that same year that Parsons and Wilson, that was back in 1990, by the way, and Parsons and Wilson did decide to go their separate ways after releasing 10 albums together.
Wow.
Today, Parsons continues to produce albums to this day and tours the world with his band. I'll give you a little more info on Alan Parsons later on the show, but we're going to keep the music with you. This is R&J's Classic Mix, and we're going to go back. Actually, we're going to go way back. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. That was Alan Parsons, our spotlight gentleman tonight. Just a little more info on Alan Parsons. And the Alan Parsons fans out there, as you were maybe aware, that all of his albums were based on themes. For example, the first album they produced was Tales of Mystery and Imagination. Around the words of Edgar Allan Poe, that's right. That's Quoth the Raven, stuff like that. Yeah. Their second album, I, Robot, the scientific work, Isaac Asimov was their, I guess you say gesture for that, or anyway, so like I said, so it went on to it. Then they did another Pyramid, was in tune with the Pyramid craze of the early 80s. Their fourth Eve paid tribute to love, and that was, a friendly card, which focused on gambling, things like that. Okay, but anyway, you're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. We're going to continue with music. This is Albert Hammond, the Free Electric Band.